What was that like, working for Trump and a few months later submitting your 2-week notice?
Um, well, it was, first of all, I mean, a lot of things I've done in my career have been because I've really wanted them and worked for them. This Trump thing was actually not one of them. I mean, of the, I think there were what, like 17 candidates in the Republican primary or something. I mean, I think Trump was probably at or near the bottom for me in terms of who I liked in the field. But I wasn't never a Trumper. I thought that the guy's his message is resonating, and he has had a track record of success. I mean, I thought that he deserved a chance to make his pitch to the country, and I really thought that so this was at the time that I joined the campaign. He was already basically on his way to getting the nomination, and I really thought that, like, whatever his motivation was for entering the race, maybe it was just a big PR thing that it would kind of dawn on him that he's
Mm-hmm.
the representative of a major political party. He has like a 50-50 shot now of becoming president. That some element of maturity or seriousness would dawn on the guy. And I thought,
You would
okay,
have
if I
thought
could
so,
help him,
yeah.
yeah, if I could help him in that process, maybe it's some kind of a service for the country. But so the point is, I didn't actually seek out this Trump opportunity. Just a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, asked me if I would do it. So I said, fine. Um,
Did you meet him?
I never did. I was the policy coordinator on the campaign. I never once met him, which goes
When
to
did you
show.
start to question that position?
Oh, I mean, I questioned it right from the beginning, and there were times before I officially quit that I basically talked to my boss on the campaign. I was like, "Look, I don't know if I can do this," and time and again they kind of reeled me back in. But to me, there were a number of big breaking points. I think, which was the first was I was in Cleveland, where the Republican convention was, and I was actually there for the week before the thing actually happened, which is when the actual process happens of crafting policy positions and whatever. So, I remember doing all this work, and all things considered, the people working for Trump at the policy level were reasonably serious people. Um, so we do all this work, and then I watch on TV when Trump actually gives the speech, and this was the infamous speech where he says, what was it? Only I can, fix the country. Right? Everyone kind of knows the quote. And so I saw this, I thought, I mean, this guy is. I never thought he was Hitler, right? I mean, that's like giving him too much credit, but I thought this guy is like straight out of these Latin American tin
Yep.
pot dictators,
Tyrant,
and just
for
a total
sure.
buffoon, a total thug. And then I watched Hillary Clinton's speech a few weeks later, and whatever differences I had with her on policy, she had a level of maturity and decency to her that was we had always taken for granted to some degree, but
But
it was
Pratik,
lacking.
that must have been such an unpopular view for you to have, not only amongst your friend groups, you were literally working for the man at the time. Like,
Well,
what was it
that's what,
like to sort of,
yeah.
push back on your friends and say, I think I might quit and I think I might even vote for Clinton?
So I did not vote for Hillary, to be clear, but part of it was it was less hard than you would think, because one of the things I found so shocking is that obviously Trump has a great deal of popularity in certain segments of the country, but I mean, I can tell you very categorically a very high percentage of the people who worked for Trump, professionally professed to support him, whatever, they absolutely knew what this guy was about well before he got elected. And so it wasn't actually one of these. Yeah.
But they did something that you did something that they didn't. You voiced the dissonance and then you left. They did not. And I know those guys too. And they're very famous and they are big Republican superstars. And I hear the way they talk on Fox News and then I hear the way they talk when we're just in a one-on-one dinner. And it is very different. You chose differently. And to some extent, there were career repercussions for that.
Oh,
Do
sure.
you
Yeah.
regret any of those choices on your
No,
end?
no, I don't. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, look, an element of in a two-party system, whatever. I mean, in a democracy, if you're a policy person, a technocrat, whatever, like you're going to have to make compromises and work for people who you may or may not like. I mean, you can't expect purity out of politicians. But there were so many lines that Trump crossed that I thought, okay, this is not okay. Like to me, the big one to me was when he basically kind of called for violence at one of his rallies when he said, "Knock the crap out of him. I'll pay for his legal bills." Political violence is a line that when you cross it in a society, it's very hard to go back from that brink. So that was pretty bad. The Billy Bush tapes, of course, I think that was when I had officially sort of declared I was not on this Trump train. But it was disappointing and surprising that how few people actually were willing to break from him.